And we are live. What's good, y'all? It's your man DL saying, welcome. I really want to know podcast. Yes, I know I'm a little bit early. I said we're gonna start. We're about 4 minutes early. Whatever. It is what it is. We're working hard. This is show number this many. Uncle Saint been out here working hard, but this conversation we're about to have, I've really been looking forward to. We got Sister Michelle waiting backstage, and we're gonna talk about possibly the new norm, right? Non-monogamous, open relationship, poly. Is that the new norm? Let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed. And without further ado, let's bring up our guest of honor. Here she is right now in the flesh. Sister Michelle, what's good, sis? How you doing? Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I am honored that you even agreed to do this. I know that you normally just jump on panels and contribute that way. But I've seen you handle yourself on panels. And I'm like, yo, I want to talk to that sister. And what I didn't know was how your relationship works. And then once you told me that, I'm like, I really want to talk to that sister. Let's really get her up here and find out what's going on. So what I would like to do for those who don't know you and, for Team Replay, I'm going to kind of put you up all by yourself and let you tell people who you are, what you're about, and, talk about your relationship status and all that good stuff.
Okay. All right. So my name is Michelle. I am somewhat known in the PWA space, PUA space, and in the Playing with Fire crowd specifically. If you know Not Your Everyday Ashley or the Raging Tomato, you've definitely seen me hanging out with them. And I'm known for being a mod and also for having an open marriage and my insight into relationships from that point of view. My friends call me a sexpert in the community, and so I did make myself available to reach out on Instagram to a lot of the guys in the community if they have questions about sex, and because the guys over there are at a extreme disadvantage when it comes to resources and knowledge and experience, and I try to help where I can. So that's kind of what I'm about. I like to stand behind the people that I like and support, and yeah.
That's what's up, sister. That's what's up. That's a shout out for you. Man, I tell you what, when I'm out there in the wilderness, when I'm out there in the trenches and a woman, we're out the bar or whatever, and she asked me, you have any questions about sex, mister? And I'm like, I only got one. Are you down? Holla, 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 holla. So I tell folks, they're like, man, you crazy. But I'm like, hey, that's a great icebreaker. If she comes up to me and the first thing she says to me is, you have any questions about sex? They're like, oh yeah, I know what time it is. It's on. So, so it is what it is. So you're in an open marriage.
Correct. I have been married over 12 years.
12 years. Mm-hmm. So it was open from day one, or is that something that you guys just kind of morphed into? How did that happen?
So it was definitely understood that it was going to be non-monogamous at some point, but we didn't start off that way. I actually don't like starting off relationships in a non-monogamous point. I don't think when you get into a relationship, you really should be looking for your next Pokemon right away. You should probably focus on getting to know that person. And so, and then right after getting married, having a baby, it's not really a time to open up then either. Postpartum, I'm not interested. So it was about 3 years before we actually fully opened up. But it was something that was always like a part of our past that we were open about and that we knew that we wanted to pursue. And I definitely do see it working out more successfully for like those couples than couples that like want to try to jump into it later. I do go into somewhat of a spiel about my lifestyle and that like I'm not prescriptive of it to anybody. I don't actually think that people should try it. I think that I'm weird and I have like a, I don't know, like a personality type. And my husband and I have like particular kinks that make it work. Like this, when you bring up like if it should be like, if it is the new norm, I'm like, I hope not. Because I don't think people should be doing it like that. I think, there's people who do extreme sports and then there's me and I do extreme relationships. And yeah, that's how it is.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. We got brother Marcus in the building. What's good, fam? Good to see you. So glad you're here. And yeah, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, I definitely got some questions for you. We got old Joe in the building. What's good, fam? Old Joe came over, I think, for the first time today, and now he's always back, man. You're always welcome here. Thank you so much for your support. We got Viking Paradigm in the building, who also, by the way, is has an, I guess we call it alternative relationship or whatever.
Cool.
So all right, so when you say it's open, because in the Mano Swamp, I've heard open relationships, but when you're over there, mostly is the guy is open to do whatever he wants, but the woman, her relationship is closed. So when you say your relationship is open, your marriage is for both of you guys, or is he like, you know what, she's what I want, I'm gonna let her do her thing and I'm gonna stay home, or is he doing this thing as well? So how does that work?
So the overview of it is that yes, it's open either way. If my husband wanted to like hook up with somebody that he met, I really wouldn't care. That's fine. And it's definitely open my way. So in my situation, it's more so open on my side in a practical sense because my husband is about 14 years older than I am.
Mm.
And also he likes to participate in like my end being open and that like he likes the videos, he likes to kind of be involved and yeah. So um I guess from like the outside perspective, it looks like it's open one way to my end, but in reality it's not. He can actually do what he wants.
Okay.
Mhm.
But he's 100% on board. Like I said, you guys got in, it was a traditional, let's say, monogamous relationship. But as the relationship evolved, you guys are okay, now we're going to do this. But you said you knew that day one that eventually I was going to get to this point.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was something that was discussed. And even in our dating, like I was seeing other people, we discussed non-monogamy from the get-go. I knew I didn't want like a traditional monogamous relationship.
Okay. And you were saying, like, listen, like, I'm not telling you guys to do this. Like, this is,
Right.
this is an extreme thing for me. But I will say that that is the topic of conversation out here in these trenches. Like when I'm just out and about doing my thing, networking or whatever, I hear a lot of people, young and old, couples and singles that are talking about this sort of thing. You have that the old poly thing, which is, if I understand it correctly, that's when the woman is open and the men are just focused on her. Hey, if you guys know better in the chat, let me know because I really don't know. Go ahead.
So polyamory breaks down to many loves, and it is an umbrella term for basically non-monogamous relationships that have a relational aspect. So, like your swingers, they're basically just out, hooking up and playing as a couple. And then your polyamory people are people that are dating several people or being married to, just having several relationships at a time. And it can look like a throuple. It can look like, the couple going off doing their own thing. There's like many different versions of it. To keep it simple, I just say I'm non-monogamous and that's it. And I
And
don't
that
like,
just that covers all of it. Like it's just
yeah, like I try to like the people that are all like, oh, I'm a demisexual poly relationship anarchist. I'm like, you're driving me crazy already. I can't.
if you said all that to me, I would respond with "Hola, cómo está?" because you're
Right.
speaking another language.
Right. Yeah, it's
Like
silly at some point. It's
it's
just
like
I'm just non-monogamous and that's what it is.
so. Was there an understanding? Like, do you guys talk about, okay, I'm gonna do my thing? Was your husband like, well, I want some input on who you're dealing with, or and it's the same thing with him? He's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing my thing, and you're like, well, I want a little input on who you are approaching or pursuing, or you guys are just completely like, nah, you just go do you, be safe.
Um, I would say it actually depends on the time.
Mm,
I've approached dating differently depending on where we were in our marriage, based on how old my kids were.
mm,
And yeah, so based on the time. So what worked 5 years ago is not what I want or works now, and vice versa. So it would just kind of depend. Uh, for the most part, I'm kind of I wouldn't try to control choosing his partner. I He hasn't really tried to control choosing my partner or anything like that. He'll definitely have questions, but it's definitely to my judgment. I'm going to be the one having a relationship with him.
And I would imagine those questions were safety related. They just want to know where you are, who he is, just in
Mhm.
case something goes wrong. I know how to find you. Okay.
Yeah, my
Um,
husband is like a super safety conscious person, and I am somebody who practices like an extreme amount of transparency. So you get to know where I am, you get to have my location, like all of it. Like you can see whatever you want. Like I'm ready to show it all.
wow. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, so have you ever noticed any jealousy on your husband's part? And the reason I bring that up is most men that I've encountered in life aren't really cool with sharing their wife or their significant other,
Mhm.
although they're cool with going out there having multiple significant others on their side. So, did you notice any jealousy? Because that's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, jealousy is a very like human normal emotion to have. Um I look at it like, I mean, being hungry, usually it's pointing to a need. And if my husband is experiencing jealousy, then I probably need to step up in some sort of area. He probably isn't feeling fulfilled in something. But it's not very common, and I wouldn't say it's not like jealousy, like how you would see like your typical couple interact with jealousy. Like for instance, if I have a new relationship that's going really well, I might be like really glowy and happy and excited, and that's normal. And, my husband might feel very happy for me, and he might also feel kind of split of like, oh, like she's, all happy because of this other person. And it's, you just talk about it, you get through it, you have the discussions, and you talk about how you're feeling, you talk about what you're needing, and you go forth in accordance to knowledge. So,
And obviously, this has worked because you guys are 12 years and going, right? So,
yeah.
were you previously married, like a divorcee or anything, or is this just like your first and only husband?
I do have a previous marriage. I don't go into, my previous life, so
Fair.
that's off topic,
Fair,
but
fair.
yeah.
But I was just curious. I'm like, huh, I wonder.
Mhm,
Because what I'm thinking is if in fact this is the new norm, I'm wondering what the divorce rate would be.
oh,
I
I could
mean,
tell you, like, in the non, monogamous community, in the swinger community, like, it's high, and people will often use, the lifestyle to, like, implode a relationship that they want out of. I've seen that happen. Like,
okay.
oh, yeah, like, I'm very wary of the couples that are, there for a new adventure, after being together for 20 some odd years. Like, I'm 6 months down the line, I'm looking at them and checking up on them, because usually something imploded. And,
So this would be the catalyst for one of them to make their exit.
oh, yes, and it's really shitty to see. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Wow. All right. Because I mean, to me, this is all brand new.
Mhm,
Full disclosure, this particular lifestyle wouldn't be for me. And what I mean by that is like actually being married.
mhm,
When you're talking about spinning plates or running a rotation, when we were having this conversation, in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, y'all just running rotations and y'all just got legally married. But
mhm,
it doesn't change. For me, it's like, well, if I'm gonna get in a relationship, I want to be with that person only. It's imprinted on me. Call it the Disney fairy tale. I don't know, but like if I'm gonna get married and say, this is the woman I want, I don't want to share her. But for those people who do, it's like, cool, that's your thing. I've seen, again, it's over the past 5 years, I've had a lot of folks, approach me and ask me questions. And so I'm like, and if the wife is beautiful, it's like, you wait, hold on, you want me to bang your wife and that's her over there? And it's
mhm.
like, okay. And I do notice that people in this lifestyle, they know who they're approaching. Like, let me ask you this. When you don't probably, or do you go out and engage with people who are in relationships, or do you go after people who are single? And how do you handle that?
My ideal partner, is usually single. but they usually need to have some sort of full social life or hobbies or something else that they are into that takes up a great deal of time, to where they don't need to be like so into a relationship. They can do like an extracurricular relationship or a secondary relationship is what I like to call them, or part-time relationship. Um,
There was a
so
song called "Part-Time Lover." I forget who
yeah,
made it, but it was like, yeah, my part-time lover. I forget. In the chat, let me know if y'all know who made that song. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I feel like every guy has like always had or has had the experience of like the girl that just had like too many needs. Like they were just like too in your face. And um being in an open relationship is nice because you get to experience people in like the smaller doses and appreciate them in a more manageable way. And kind of like do something that fits a little bit better, and you get like a wider range of experience with your partners when you get to manage them that way.
Are these relationships sex only, or is it a full blown relationship? I.e., all right, my husband doesn't like ballet, but Todd over here likes ballet, so I can go to the ballet with Todd. How does that work?
For my case, I do have a boyfriend, and then I top out at the two relationships. My dance card is full at that point, and they're full blown relationships. So, like, yeah,
Wow.
and that works for me now. That wasn't the case like 5 years ago. Right now, my kids are older. I have much more time, and it's just the way it is for the moment, I guess.
Now, on the red pill side of the world, I'm pretty sure you heard this.
Mhm.
Um, you know, Men and women aren't the same, which I agree with 100%. And when it comes to sex, that is very rare for a woman to be able to engage in a physical relationship with a man other than her significant other, husband, or whatever, and not fall for that guy. In other words, like she's gonna start having sex with this dude, fall for this dude, and she's gonna leave her husband. And we're not just talking about you, but what are your thoughts on that take?
It's a valid take. And women kind of do fall into the more emotional sex to begin with. Like I said, I think I'm pretty weird. I think, I think, I have the ability to indulge in the relationships and be present for both of them and manage them well. I think that it just works with my personality, um, and it wouldn't for a lot of women. And for guys to say like, "Hey, I'm worried about you falling in love with somebody," that's valid, like totally.
Mm.
And I don't think you should be messing around in like an alternative, relationship if you feel that way. So like, but if it's something where it's exciting to you and you like the thought of bringing more people in and you want to explore it, like it's there. I can't say, like, I recommend it. Like I said, I'm very careful about that. Um,
So
it's
you
an
say
option.
proceed at your own risk. Play at your own risk, bro.
Dude,
Like
yeah. Like, I'm that way about everything, but, like, I have big dogs too, and I'm just like, "You don't wanna touch my dog." My dog is probably not gonna bite you, but you don't wanna touch my dog.
we're talking Dobermans, German Shepherds. What are we
I have
talking?
I have pit bulls and then, but
Mm.
I also foster dogs. I'll foster, like, really, like, Dogo Argentinos, Rhodesian Ridgebacks. Like, I'll take the power breeds on.
Yeah, I ain't fucking with you, shorty. I come over to the house, man. Lock them dogs up, man. Quit playing.
Mhm. Yep,
Lock them dogs up.
yep.
Brother Cody's King stopped in for a hot second. He's like, yo, just stopping in. I like my women to leave me alone too, but I'd like them to have a hobby, not another man. He's like,
Fair enough.
but I appreciate you, bro, stopping by. I am fascinated by this. Um, okay, so you cap out at 2, and
Mhm.
you and I were talking before, like, you've lost 120 pounds.
Yes.
Hey, well done, shorty. Well done.
Thank
So
you.
so being out there doing your thing,
Mhm.
does the weight, or tell me how the weight affects what you're doing in the sexual marketplace? Like, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Does it matter? What's your take on that?
For women, weight doesn't matter when it comes to casual dating, but it definitely does matter when it comes to getting anything serious. Like, um, I did have a longer relationship prior to this one that was several years long, like 4 or 5 years long. And then I would say I was kind of dating on the secondary end for about 2 years, and it was like, I don't know, maybe 3 months after I did my whole weight loss reveal, updated my pictures, and I had a boyfriend that was, consistent and solid, whereas, like, those 2 years, I was just kinda seeing guys casually. Guys had no problem, like, seeing me and, yeah, obviously having sex with me and stuff like that, but they were definitely not, like, investing in me the way that, they were willing to, and it was even evident by, the men coming back around if they happened to see my pictures, like, that was
They're like, "Yo,
very,
what's up?"
yeah, like, it was, like, a little obnoxious, but, I get it.
Yeah, because where I grew up in the hood, when we were doing like if I'm messing with a chubby, right? It's what we call creeping. I would creep up. It's the booty call, right?
Mhm.
I'm coming to see you. You ain't coming to my spot. No, we're not going to the movies. No, you can't hang out with me. We're in the club. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and again, it was like you said, it was more to do with the weight and how she looked. And if she would have dropped a bunch of weight and you see her again, it's like, yo, what's up? Is that you? What's going on? How you doing? Where you been? And then,
Mhm.
of course, the women are like, oh, so now you want to take me out?
Yep.
Yeah, girl, look at that ass. You're looking good. Let's go. So when women, so the women are out there talking body positivity, and now we're not even talking about, having an open relationship now, just in
Yeah.
general in the dating in the sexual marketplace. Again, the red pill side of the world says that uh, there are women out there who are, let's say, a 4, which is one step below average in the sexual marketplace. Maybe they're overweight. They are
Mhm.
overweight. But because they were able to get a guy who was like a 7 or an 8 to have some sort of sexual relation with them, they believe that that's what they qualify for forever now. So, do you agree with that, or are they kind of off on that assessment?
Oh, no, it's a dead on assessment, and it's not so much like they believe that they deserve it, it's just that they have so many choices that looks a certain way. And, to put this in perspective for you, um, when I met my boyfriend, I had 4,000 likes on Tinder that I was, like, sorting through, 4,000.
Fourth, and this is before you lost your weight.
No, this is, like, I updated
After,
pictures, yeah,
okay,
so,
okay.
I mean, I'd say this is probably, like, the 4-month period, of updating my pictures, there were 4,000 likes in my pile, probably averaged about 1,000 a month of just straight likes to sort through, and that's not me swiping, that's just me going into the like pile.
Damn.
So, yeah, like, when you have 4,000 sitting there, what's gonna jump out at you? It's gonna be the good-looking guys, and so, like, it's not even like we feel like we deserve it or like we think that we're prettier than what we are. Like I know women go like, I'm a 10, I'm a 10. I think they're a little bit more realistic. I think they know what's up, and I think that they know that the market right now is skewed in such a way where it is sex first, and then you have all these options, and then you're going to end up getting ghosted. And women just have to go through it. They need to learn, and they're going to get dropped, they're going to get used, and they're going to start streamlining their choices. They're going to start, they might have some fun at first with it, but they'll learn, they'll get it. Yeah.
Wow, that's some crazy shit, brother. Casual germs in the building. What's good, fam? Because normally when I have conversations with women, most women won't engage in this conversation. First of all,
Right.
and it's like you said, they know, but they just don't want to say it, especially on camera. Like off camera, yeah, they're like, oh yeah, man, she's delusional. Ain't no way in hell.
Hmm.
So if you have a woman, and we're not even talking about just weight or whatever, just a woman who is like a 4 out of 10 on that scale, right? And guys, we're only using the scale because it makes it easy to give you an idea where this person is. So she's a 4, 2 steps below average. A correction,
Hmm.
a 3, 2 steps below average. And how many prospects does that woman have? Like a 3 out of 10. How many, choices does she have? Is she limited like a guy who's a 3? Like, across the aisle?
I mean, a guy who is like a 6 might get a few matches a day. And that's
maybe.
matches. That's, them actually swiping. They're not sitting on likes like women are. And all women are sitting on the likes of people that have already swiped right, already said yes,
Even the threes.
even the threes. And then
That right there.
heaven forbid she throw a sexual profile. If she throws a sexual profile, it is like over and she gets to just like swim in the guys.
Yeah, like a close up on her lips and all that kind of stuff or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. If she's not, well, I might be a little chubby, but look at these lips. Wow. And what? And no, and even that girl who's a three but very sexual and somehow she's pulling it off. How far up is she getting? Is she getting tens, nines, eights? Where would you say she's living in? Is she's living right around that 5, 6, 7, or is it all of them?
I mean, it really depends on if she wants what she wants, because there's going to be the really good looking guys in there, whether or not they're going to be particularly nice to her or give her the time of day. They might be really super direct with like, I'll fuck you. And this is it,
Yeah,
um,
I'm guilty
yeah,
of that.
right. So, they might say something like that. Maybe they'll go down a little bit for somebody who's a little bit nicer. Um, I was different. I kind of liked playing, who did what in the field. Was the overweight guy a really, good boyfriend? Is the millionaire as much fun as they say they are? So I tried it, everything.
So you've experienced the whole spectrum, and
Totally.
I know you shared with me you were dealing with a very successful guy, a guy who had a lot of resources, like way up there financially.
Hmm.
Um, how did that work for you? Because you told me the story, and I got some questions about that. But
Yeah.
how did that work out? Walk me through that. Like, how did you make the connect? Like, get the intro, make the connect, and the rest of it.
I mean, it worked like any other guy, honestly. It's they're sitting there in the like pile, and then you figure out who they are, and you're like, oh, or they say it's like there wasn't just the one. There's this guy that's inviting me over to a penthouse, that wants
Oh,
to pay for my
do
yeah.
tell, sis. A
Hmm.
penthouse? Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
you?
Just me, just me.
So he wanted to bring you over so y'all could play Uno?
Oh no, that's like that's the thing. Is like with me, I hate dates. Hate them. Hate them.
Real talk. Like you just fuck a date.
I don't like them. If and this is like what I learned is I had to kind of put my own investment out there to be more invested in my experiences, because if I let the guy be invested in the experience, then I'd be like, oh, I might go out with him again. When I put the investment to the experience, and it was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to this room, and if we don't have a good time together, then I'm probably never going to see you again. And we just try it out. And if we go to the room and we have a great time together, I'll keep seeing you. And so when I started doing that, I started getting real picky.
Wow. So
Yeah,
you're like, listen, we finna go in here and we gonna fuck. And if you
right,
give me some bullshit dick, you ain't never gonna see me again. Do
correct.
you understand? That's
Yep.
that's the game you're running.
Mhm,
That's some pimp shit right there,
mhm.
shorty. That is so you're dealing with powerful guys. You hit them with
Right.
this game.
Mhm.
That had to put them on their heels. I'm sure they wasn't expecting to hear that. And I want you to answer just in a second. Brother Michael in the building. What's good, fam? What's good, fam? Thanks for coming up, man. I appreciate you, bro. And old Joe, he's fascinated with my square glass. Yeah, bro, it's a square glass. I got this on Amazon, and the design, you see how it kind of it's like offset here a little bit, and it's kind of like at an angle. I forget the name of the thing. This is a non-paid promotion, but guess what? I'm gonna send this clip to the motherfuckers. Like, hey, I can help y'all sell some glasses. Send me some money. It's like we all got to get it. So with that game, and you're talking to a man who's used to being in command, you coming in right away saying, nah, I'm in command. How did that dynamic work?
I mean, I'm still who I am, and I'm actually sweet. So I'm a giver. I still want to have a good time and everything like that, and I still want like the best of the best when it comes to lovers. But I'm a hardcore giver, and so when I show up, like I'm actually really more ready to give an experience. And so, like, I mean, he kept calling.
Hey, hey, she's like, hey, I gotta get that shit. He kept calling. So, it's just a lot of guys don't like giving up that power, that perceived power. Like, I'm setting the frame, right? That's what you hear it over and over again, frame. In the dynamic you explained to me, they're in your frame. You're married. You're telling them exactly how it's gonna go. They're not gonna be able to like use money, because you were saying like you take care of everything. So if you guys are gonna go like to a spot, you control all that.
Correct. It is my room. And yeah, it's, if you're not bringing me a good time, then yeah, it like all of a sudden, like it's what I want. Yeah.
Right. You like hit the
Hmm.
bricks. And like, and so even when the guys are happy, they brought their A game, you're like, all right, cool. Are they kind of trying to embrace and kiss you as a lovey dovey, or are you like high five, smack them on the ass? Hey, good game, baby. I'll see you next time. Or is it a combination of the two? How does that work?
I'd say it depends on the guy, but I'm pretty affectionate. I'm very sweet. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So he gets a proper cuddle when it's over. Okay, cool.
oh yeah, yeah. Like if we can't like cuddle like and talk beforehand before we get started, like I already know it's not going to go off really well. Like what I want is like that comfortability to settle over us, and then we can just like go lay in bed and talk or cuddle or have sex or do whatever it is that we want to do and be very, very comfortable with it. That is like the ideal time for me. That's the first date.
That's the first date. Okay,
That's the first
cool.
date.
So
So it's like sink or swim right away. Like, I get to weed out like so much.
right, like, okay, this guy's a
Mhm.
bullshit. I ain't feeling it bad. I'm gonna give him one more
Right.
opportunity. Oh, nope, nope, he fucked up. He got to go. Right. So,
Right.
but again, it seems like they're in your frame. Would you agree with that or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of in their own frame. I mean, like, I don't like the idea, like in the manosphere, where like women are being used or damaged or I don't know.
Because of multiple bodies.
Right.
You don't
So
necessarily buy into that.
it's the whole body count thing. Yeah, and I'm just like, no. For me, we are both going there to have a good time. Me especially. I want to have a good time. So we're doing something for each other. This is an activity we're doing together. I'm not giving up anything. Like I already have my marriage, my matriarchy is secure. Like I'm solid. I don't like nothing about my self-worth is in that interaction. Like I'm not writing anything on it. So right, like yeah, it definitely comes at it from like a different point of view where I probably do have like quite a bit of advantage.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because I was going to mention that very thing. I'm like, this makes sense to me because you have your husband,
Correct.
y'all have an understanding, you
Mhm.
have your family, you have all those things that women tend to want. You have the protection, provision, right? You guys are doing your thing, and that includes you going out and getting whatever it is you're trying to get, right? So for you, I would say, okay, I guess in that dynamic, a body count doesn't matter because you already have your husband. Let's say that you were single,
Mhm.
and so would you say, 25, 30, 50 bodies, 100 bodies? Do you think that that wouldn't affect most women? And I know you can't answer for every individual, but you interact with women.
Right.
Well, is there anything to the fact that too many men can kind of mess you up for a long-term relationship?
I mean, it depends on the reasons why you're doing it. Like if you're coming at it whole, as in I want to have a good experience sexually with this man and none of my self-worth is riding on it, it's very different between a girl having sex with somebody for the first time when they're hoping for a relationship. There's a lot more on the line. And
I
so
see.
yeah, that can definitely fuck somebody up. But it's really like how you acquired those bodies. Like it was something I was saying earlier about the shame. It's like if you're going to be in the lifestyle, if you're going to, live the alternative lifestyle, you better be past that shame. People can't be able to project that shame on you, and they're going to try. And you have to be strong within yourself to say, hey, I'm not doing anything illegal. We already have the rules about sex for our society, period. Okay.
Yes.
Like, and I'm not doing anything wrong. You can think about however you want about it, but I'm not obligated to your sensibilities, just as somebody is not obligated to mine. So, do I feel like women can fuck themselves up with sex and a lot of bodies? 100%. If I became single again, would that affect like my partners? I would already be looking for somebody who is very open-minded about sex anyway. All
Right.
right. I'm probably going to be drawn to somebody who has a lot of bodies like anyway. Okay. They're going to want an experienced partner like me anyway. So I have my own field to play in. You know, people can have their beliefs, and you're going to find somebody that matches your belief system and your ideology. And I think that that's great, and you should do what's right for you. And then I'm going to keep playing over here with my people.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. So, and I know I keep asking you to answer for all women. The only reason I
Yeah.
say this is because you have a perspective that is different from mine. Women are going to say shit around you they would never say around me, right? And men, like same thing. Men are going to say shit around me that they would never say around you. Most dudes, you know what I mean?
Right.
Some of the top tier guys don't give a shit. That's a different realm. But would you, just making up numbers here, what percentage of modern women would you say between the ages of 18 and 28 are virgins? And I'm not gonna hold you to it. We're just making up numbers.
I have no idea. Um, I know that more women are losing their virginity right around high school now more than ever.
Okay.
So I would probably say that whatever it is it's lower now than it ever has been before.
The amount of virgins, yeah, there are
Correct.
less virgins now than there ever would be. Okay.
Correct.
And I'm with you on that. Um, so the reason I asked that question is because the red pill talks about body count. They focus so much on body count. I'm an old
Yes.
dude. I'm an old school guy.
Mhm.
I'm in my 50s. I'm well into my 50s. I never in my life gave a fuck about a woman's body count because in my mind, I'm like, she's not a virgin, so it doesn't matter. One or one, I'm like, she got one body or 1,000 bodies. It's the same to me. I'm gonna run my game. I'm gonna do whatever it is I'm doing. I don't care.
Mhm.
However, having said that, if a woman came up to me and said, I was a sex worker, I have this many bodies, if she just would have tell me, that's going to adjust the way I pursue her.
Mhm.
And so many women today are like, no, it doesn't matter how many bodies you have, it doesn't matter. Yet they won't tell you their true body count ever,
Right.
even if you do ask. Again, which I'm not asking, but it's just fascinating. You would say that, like, yeah, I don't know what the number is, but it's definitely less virgins now than there was at any time in history because women are just out there doing it. Are women, in fact, like we're seeing, like, I'm not asking this, I'm just making a statement here. I've never seen so many women, young women, willing to sexualize themselves like they do in today's market. What's
Mm.
your take on all that?
Um, my whole take on the whole like, oh, sexual promiscuity is out of control and the world is ending is that no, it's not. Is it to a new degree? Yes, we have new technology. It is what it is now. We're not going to be able to put the cat in the bag. All right. This is what the sexual marketplace is like, and this is the impact that it has had. And now we need to adjust, you know? And so now, when you can buy a DNA test on Amazon, you don't need to really consider whether or not your wife is in a chastity belt. Okay, that's just not it doesn't come into play. That would kind of be abusive unless she asked for it. Um,
She
and
might like that though. That's a
she
whole
might
nother
like it, yeah,
conversation for another day.
exactly. So, uh, my whole thing about, like, the body count and the promiscuity is that sensible people can have, sex responsibly and sensibly. They just can. You can make reasonable decisions and have sex responsibly and safely. That is where we are right now. All right. You can take doxycycline prophylactically now and prevent STDs. That's where we're at. All
Yeah,
right. We have put AIDS in remission or HIV in remission. That's where we're at. All right. Uh,
facts.
we've come to the conclusion that herpes is a rash. That's where we're at. Okay. So, like,
Damn.
it is what it is. Like, these are the facts. So, like, it just,
This is the real red pill, gentlemen.
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the real red pill. You heard it here first. Sister Michelle, herpes is just a rash. Continue, babe.
Okay. Herpes is a rash. We could put HIV in remission. Like, we are in a totally different type of sexual climate, and sex isn't dirty like it used to be anymore. All right. You can have sex fun and safely. You need to be smart about it. You need to like um best practices are actually not to have sex while drinking or under the influence of drugs. I actually don't drink at all. And so all of the bodies that I might have acquired have been done sober and rationally and safely. And that looks way different than somebody who is trying to get attention from men at a bar, drunk somewhere, going home with some random. There's a difference here. So
Definitely a difference here. Hopefully I don't fuck this name up. Yaka Far 666, what's good? Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the first time I've seen you. Let me show you some love over here. Hopefully you come back, and that's what I normally do for my folks that came back. Like, you know, like that's a good point. Old Joe's like, good job conducting this interview, DL. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that.
you're doing great. Yeah.
I'm trying. I'm trying to learn. There are times when I go vicious. I go fucking, you know what I mean, airborne mode, and I rip into motherfuckers. But then there are times like this. I just want to have a real good conversation. Hopefully we can hit on some things that get lost in the smoke and mirrors when you're having those battles between the blue pill and the red pill and all those other fucking pills. And I appreciate you, brother Michael. I hope I'm asking good questions. Brother Viking, like the body count issue is a real factor, but it is overblown in the red pill for sure. And it really is. I agree with that 100%. It really is overblown. Hey, Viking, we're going to drop the link here in a minute in case you want to pop up. And Ojo, like, can you ask Michelle about her level of education? She is very well spoken. Huh? Hey, there you go. Ojo wants to know.
I really appreciate that, old Joe. I am not as educated as I am intelligent. I've only graduated high school. I have a little bit of trade school under my belt, but I enjoy learning. I just have to do it my own way. I have ADHD, but I love picking up new things. So
we all got something wrong with us, man. People hit me with that shit all the time, and it's like, I got some college. I was an air traffic controller. Well, did you get your doctorate in fucking aviation? I mean, no. Like, I joined the United States Army. I was a paratrooper. They dropped me out of fucking airplanes. The show I did before this, I was showing how you can get really hurt being a paratrooper, and I think I opened some eyes. I found some videos online with people really getting hurt, and there's a couple guys who saved their lives and their parachutes didn't open, which is a thing. Obviously, I did drop the link, guys. If anybody wants to jump up, you know, I mean, this is the conversation we're having. We're not here to burn down the world. You know, we finally have a woman here, right? A mom, a wife who's in an open relationship that can give us who's very articulate and can give us some insight, a POV that we just don't have, gentlemen. I love when I get opportunities like this. What would you say is the biggest problem with today's sexual marketplace, Sister Michelle? And is there any hope? Is there any hope? You're like, send the asteroid.
Men and women are at an impasse, and we don't need each other the way that we used to anymore. We still need each other. Like, you know, there's always that point brought up on the red pill, like how women wouldn't be able to survive without men for the infrastructure and blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying what we don't need is the relationships with each other. You can have a successful career and you can live on your own and carry out your life. We don't necessarily need relationships anymore like we used to. You can have kids via surrogate. So you don't even need a relationship to have the kids. And because of that, we are in an atmosphere where we start thinking more about what we want, and we start analyzing whether or not we are happy. And that causes us to leave our relationships more because we don't need to stay in them anymore. And now we're starting to analyze if we're happy in them versus whether or not it is advantageous for us or part of our livelihood or whatever the case may be. That's where you get like no fault divorce.
Which I don't like, by the way. I'm not a fan of no fault divorce, but continue.
And I understand. I don't necessarily think people should stay in marriages that they don't want to stay in, though. You know, I really respect people's autonomy. I do understand where it becomes, you know, troublesome. And I think that people need to have more integrity to their commitments. Not necessarily.
I agree with you there.
Yeah. Take away no fault divorce or something like that.
I agree. Let's drill down on no fault just for a little bit. Sure. I agree with you there on no fault. My thing is the way the family court is structured now, there's an incentive to get divorced. And I don't like that incentive. And that you know, right now it benefits women mostly, but I think the time will come when it may benefit men mostly. It's going to benefit the person who has less. But I agree with you. I don't think people should be forced to stay in a relationship, in a marriage that's not working for them. But I don't believe that they should be rewarded for doing so. That's my take on that, sis. What's your take?
Yeah, like I want people to be able to do what they want, and I want people to be in the relationships that they want. Things that I am in favor of is like relationship contracts. I'm in favor of people
Yes.
developing actual relationship skills. I'm in favor of people talking about what they need and voicing those needs and having good conversations around that. I'm in favor of like kind of revisiting parameters of the relationship later on versus like never talking about why the distance between you grows so much, because it's like the silence it's deafening. Hey, Sarah.
Yeah. People talking a lot about communication, but very few people actually do it.
Right. And we're gonna hand the mic over to Brother Viking, and then Sister Sarah has joined. This is for Brother Viking and Sister Sarah. Appreciate y'all coming through. I'm gonna hand the mic to Brother Viking, and then Based Oracle's in the building.
I made it.
My
Oracle
biggest frenemy. Sorry.
That's what it is, man. And I have to I'm gonna have to add to my soundboard. Based Oracle needs his own music.
Yeah, I agree. No, you very right.
But until then, we're gonna
play like a clown song, like
there it is. There it is. You know what? I'm gonna do that because I was about to play this.
Dio, boot her off.
Hey Sarah, who hurt you?
Right. There they go.
Right.
So let me catch up with the chat right now, man. We got Wonderful 34 in the building. What's good, fam? Always a pleasure to see you. Bay said he's en route.
Route.
He's en route. Tomato, leave me alone. Brother Michael, man, appreciate you, man. Raging Tomatoes already up here. This is great. This is a great conversation. So I'm gonna hand it off to Brother Viking, then we're gonna go to Sister Sarah, and then we're gonna go to Brother Based Oracle. So Brother Viking, go ahead. We were talking about, you can take it anywhere you want to go. I was asking Sister Michelle about no fault divorce and my problems with it. I just don't like the idea of people being rewarded for getting out the relationship, but I do want them to get out the relationship. So, but you can take it wherever you want to take it, Brother Viking.
Yeah, I agree. Like this comes down to the lack of personal accountability and responsibility that people have. It's like kind of one of those just weak-minded things. If you're going to get married and you're going to take a vow, sickness and health, and death do us part, you really should understand that beforehand. Like Michelle was saying, like people really need to actually learn how to be in a relationship, right? A lot of people just nowadays are just like, oh, it's just gonna, like, we're just gonna do it and it's just gonna work. Like there is right ways and wrong ways to do things, and like I said, people harp on communication all the time, but one of the things I found out is very few people actually know how to do it effectively. Right. This is one of the things I learned being in the Fresh and Fit Discord, is that we get a lot of new people coming in, and many of them don't even know how to talk like adults with basic manners. And I'm just like freaking out sometimes, just like this full-grown man doesn't have basic manners. It's shocking. It really is sometimes.
Even Marines have.
You talking about me?
Nope. Even Marines have manners.
Oh, put the shirt on if it don't fit, man.
Even Marines have manners. Sister Sarah, what's your take on all that? So remember, we're talking about open relationships, the poly stuff, non-monogamy. Is this the new way? And then, of course, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about as well.
I wasn't tuned in. I only just tuned in. But I don't know. I think what's going on is people are maybe trying to find new ways to extend their the perimeters of their marriages, in that aspect for the non-monogamy things. It's kind of like, in a sense, having your cake and eating it too. And I think there are healthy ways to go about it, and then there are unhealthy ways to go about it, right? I definitely, Michelle, of all people, knows I wouldn't shame anybody for that kind of decision in life. But I think that at the end of the day, I think what's his name, Viking over here, kind of hit the nail on the head when he was saying that it's work. but it's a matter of what kind of work you want to do for what kind of marriage you want to have. So as long as you have your end goal in mind on where we want to be and what we want to do in our relationship, and you work towards that goal however it works for you, then go do it.
All right, that's what's up. Base, you're next, but we got Brother Cribby in the building. West Side, what's good, fam? Transactional relationships never work out. Right, and I agree with that. What Sister Michelle shared with us is, hers is open. There's nothing transactional about it. In fact, when she removes the transactional aspect, a lot of these dudes don't know what to do. These powerful, wealthy, top tier guys with all this money, they're stuck on stupid because she's taking care of everything. They're like, what? Don't I gotta pay for this? No, I gotta do for that. She's like, nah, you're done. High five, get out. I'll see you later. Which I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Brother based Oracle, man. What say you?
Yeah. Well, a lot to unpack there. Everything that Sarah said wrong, but I digress. No, I mean, look, people can do whatever they want to do, obviously, and they are doing that. I think probably things have veered more towards, what do you want to call it, experimental, outside the relationship, whatever you want to frame that as. Non-monogamous, right? That'd probably be the way to put it. And there's a lot of reasons why. And then there's the individual reasons or why they believe they're doing it. To me, there's always anomalies with everything, right? Maybe, from what I understand, I didn't hear much of the whole convo, but from what I understand, Michelle, maybe she's an anomaly. Maybe.
And in real talk, you didn't get to hear this, but she did say she does not promote this. She does not. Yeah. Okay, just making sure. Yeah, this is for her.
With that said, if 1 out of 2 women were choosing the same lifestyle as Michelle, that would tell me our society is broken. But again, I'm not saying that about Michelle. I'm saying that about in terms of taking something that is an anomaly innately, let's say biologically, and not turning into the new norm is just a reflection of the people of society. And I don't think there's one thing that we can look at. I know you mentioned, DL, I think the unfair court laws or whatever, right? The divorce system, this type of thing.
No fault divorce,
Yeah, sure. And with that, here's where you and I disagree, but I think at the core we probably agree. But here's how I'll put it. You're saying, well, men get the short end of the stick, and women, they get the good end, right? The prizes and whatever. With that said, I would put it that the only people who are really making out well are the elite, right? The government, behind the government, right? It has become a business divorce.
Multi-billion-dollar business, yes.
Right, and both men and women need to be aware of the risks and dangers. The difference, I think what you're seeing, DL, is in the short term, generally, it's fucked for men. In the long term, it's fucked for women. It's different reasons. It comes out in different ways. And this kind of goes back to the conversation with Glenn and VO Pod earlier. But the point is, we have different ways that we're hurt by the system or this type of thing. And the feminist side is like, oh, it's the red pill, and the red pill is like, it's the feminists. It's the same shit. Whenever it's extreme, and I'm taking the extreme version of feminism versus,
extreme version of the red pill.
I don't know how it could be more extreme red pill than that. So with that, we're all paying the price. Yeah, for our leaders, right? Where the money is really going to, where the real winners lay, is within the lawyers, not the women. Even though you might say, well, look, they got the house and the this and the that. Yeah, I get it. So in the short term, it looks good. But you already know the answer to that long-term problem, DL, right? The whole cat mom idea, right? The whole, you're going to have no one at age 60. So I get you that you're looking at it that men lose and women make out. But the real truth, the big picture, is everyone getting fucked in different ways. And you should know that getting into a relationship, getting into a marriage in this day and age, be aware of what the laws are, how this can affect you. Just knowing this simple. Look, you're going to get married. The government wants to break you apart. The government wants your family to be fucked up, your children. That's what they want because that's what profits them. And you're nothing more than a number. And if you think otherwise, you're fucking dumb.
Do you think if more people are broken, like at a younger age and traumatized, that maybe the government would be able to exploit them more later?
Well, I think the earlier the government does that, the better for them in doing the bad things. And that is happening in terms of indoctrination with the school system, whether it be the information itself. The food in schools is gross, it's garbage, right? Public schooling system. The fights that are breaking out, right? You see these teenagers at times beating the shit out of like teachers. Women. I mean, how many clips of that have you seen? I've seen a few, and it's fucked.
So what happens when you outsource parenting?
Yeah. These are some of the problems. I want to introduce something to the panel. Before I do that, Lincoln Banks in the building. What's good? Dallas representing. I see you, fam. I ain't seen you in a minute, man. It's good to see you. Sister Jody is in the building. What's good, sis? Appreciate you coming by, showing love. So, and just real quick, just for clarification, I don't think that it's just women who, by and large, get over. Although I will say historically, it seems when it comes to divorce, women have, made out pretty well. But I think if the trend continues, if men stop working and stop trying to provide for themselves, and women continue to grow in the marketplace and business, I think it could switch. Again, it's the person who has less that's going to get over in our current system, which, to your point, is still bad for everybody. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, though. I agreed with what you said, but you slipped in there. But women have been making out, and I'm trying to explain that the truth, the reality is they're not making out. But in the superficials, in the short term, I totally get you. I see what's there. I'm just talking about in the big picture.
Yeah, that is a fair point. Most of the money that these women do get from the men in the divorce proceedings, it does end up going to the lawyers. They are making out like fucking bandits.
Or the makeup industry, the whatever industry. I'm just saying it goes back into the system inevitably.
And going to the kids. But I wanted to present this to the panel. And this is going to what Base was saying earlier. If you have a couple who are in an extreme relationship, to coin Sister Michelle's phrase, and they agree to do what they're doing, and they're able to do what they're doing and keep it away from the children. So they're raising their kids. They're just doing their thing. They're keeping it away from the kids. They're still raising their children. Does that hurt society? Can they still raise good children if the children don't know about what mommy or daddy they're doing when it's grown-up time, i.e. having an extra relationship?
Let me
go ahead,
Sarah. Question. Since when did your children know about what you're doing in your bedroom?
Well, today with technology is more.
But I'm saying is like, why would they know any further of what mommy and daddy are doing, with their sex lives or whatever? Like, they shouldn't know any of that to begin with.
They wouldn't, but I mean, they can see.
They should know and see that mommy and daddy love each other, and they can kiss and hold hands, and they're loving and tender and all of those sweet things. But like they shouldn't know anything that's going on behind that door, whether it's just mommy and daddy or mommy and daddy and Uncle Chuck or whoever. I don't know. Whatever.
Here's the point. Should, but things always come out eventually at some point, so they will find out.
Because my thing is this: kids have the technology as well. They won't know what's going on behind mommy and daddy's door. But when mommy and or daddy goes outside, and they're on the other side of town, they're doing this to keep it away from the kids. But your son or daughter's friend catches them, grabs the phone, sends the picture. You can see mommy and or daddy, holding hands and cuddling up with someone else. Like, well, who is this person? That's not your mom and dad. That's the point I'm making. And I guess the question for the panel, and we'll go around the horn, can a traditional family and non-traditional family raise good kids today? And we'll start with Sister Sarah. We'll go Viking, Base, and then we'll end with Sister Michelle.
I mean, I can only speak for, traditional. I'm not going to speak for anybody else because I don't know anybody else's shoes. But like, I know what I do, and I know like what I've kind of seen out in the world a little bit, but I don't know what's going on behind other people's closed doors and who they are or anything like that. So I'm not going to be the judge. But I think it's possible for anybody to raise a good kid. I think it's possible for anyone to raise a bad kid. You know, I think that's solely up in the air. I don't think there's a direct answer for that.
Okay, Viking.
I think it comes down to whether or not the parents are teaching personal accountability and demonstrating proper leadership and communication, right? And then a few key things like Sarah said about being affectionate and stuff like that, setting a good example, right? It doesn't really matter how you get down the bedroom because yeah, your kids should not be seeing that shit. And how your relationship is structured, if my son were to ask me about that, I'd just tell him. I'd obviously not tell him, gory details or any of that stuff that he's not old enough to understand. Like when he gets older, I'll tell him. But right now, I'm just going to give him the basic structure and information so he has some context. I'm not going to hide everything from him. But like I said, as a dad, I got to be strategic about how much information I'm giving him, where I'm not giving him more information than he needs, right? So it's kind of like a need to know basis type thing. Does that make sense?
Based on age and their ability to understand. G Complex 217 in the building. What's good, fam? We got Texas in the building tonight, y'all. I see all the players coming out. Pace. What's your take on that, man? Can a non-traditional, open relationship couple raise good children and just as well as a traditional couple in today's world, in your opinion?
Yeah, anything can do anything. With that, it's probably unlikely that what I think you're referring to as traditional and non-traditional, that they would be similar in outcome effects for the children. And as to the whole, keeping away or do the kids know type of thing, here's the way I would think of it. Reality is your kids don't necessarily need to know the words, the details, anything like that. But kids, like animals, I'm just saying, they know when something's wrong. They know when things are good, when they're bad. Sure, mommy and daddy can go be degenerate to the highest degree and then come back with a smile on their face and pretend to be in a happy, loving thing. But again, the truth will always come out. So they're going to know, maybe not be able to know cognitively in their brain, but let's say their instinct will probably pick up at some point if it doesn't come out overtly, which it very well may.
That's what's up, man. We keep it boring over here. Like I say, no, we ain't got no craziness popping off. At least not yet. At least not on this show. But trust me.
You need me to chop somebody?
No, we good. Like we good right now. Sister Michelle, what's your take?
So your kids shouldn't be involved in your sex life. I feel like it's kind of goes without saying. There are many, many aspects that I use to raise my kids, and my sex life really doesn't come into play when it comes to raising my kids. So to answer your question, I would say based on my experience, I'm raising 3 really awesome humans I'm very proud of.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's what's up. We got Brother Horny in the building. What's good, people? What's good, fam? Welcome. Glad you're here. So yeah, at this point, man, we can chop it up whatever we want to say. We got a good 20 minutes to just go free for all right here. We can go anywhere. So
I'm ready. I'm ready to chop.
Make it happen. I wish I had that hot seat thing like Sarah has. That shit was cool with the timer.
Yeah.
But go ahead, babe.
So along the lines of so for instance, your kids shouldn't know about what happens in the bedroom. Sure. Yeah. With that said, let's say that daddy, let's say he's, they're married, him and wife, and he's going out 5 nights a week for 2 hours to, bang women or a woman or whatever the case. Yeah, sure. He could tell them I'm at work, right? You could lie to him. You could say he's doing whatever.
Or he doesn't leave till they go to bed. They're in bed at 9. He leaves from 10 to midnight.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine as well. But my point is, that time is coming out of somewhere, right? That time is coming out of maybe what you would use to make money, or maybe it would be, hanging out with your family, that sort of thing, being a dad. So I'm just saying there's trade-offs with everything. And, I can see a lot of trade-offs potentially from the non-traditional. Like there's a million potential trade-offs. might increase your chance of getting a disease, increase your chance of getting an SA charge if you're a dude, right? Increase your chance of losing your job because the other one gets mad. Or I'm just saying, there's a whole butterfly effect that may occur that you're opening the doors to simply because, well, I want this. So
Right.
I'm just
and
saying, you got to
it
pick
doesn't
and
just
choose.
hurt, and it doesn't just hurt mom or dad. It hurts the entire family if it goes tits up.
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from with that. Viking, what's your take, bro?
I mean, that's true, right? There's upsides and downsides to everything. That's why I say, like, the key thing is about, I recommend everybody do your fucking homework, do your research. A lot of people just don't want to take the time to do it, right? Like, for me, the reason why I never got a marriage contract is because I read the fucking thing and found out all the benefits. Because I asked people, like, what are the benefits, right? What are the downsides and what are the benefits? And people would be like, oh, you get tax break. I'm just like, that's not a real answer. Okay, let me look. I'm just like, oh, this is one-sided. Why would I go into that? There's all these issues that could come up when it doesn't take away from my ability to be monogamous to my woman, right? Like, it does, the contract isn't going to make me do anything that I wasn't already going to do, but it comes with a ton of downsides. So digressing a little bit there, going on to the family thing, right? Yeah, there are downsides that you could experience, right? If you're not using protection, like you said, STDs, unwanted pregnancies, stuff like that, all that stuff can happen if you're, dabbling with other people, so those are just side effects that you need to be aware of that could happen. And if you're going to do that, you need to be responsible and minimize the downsides, right? And try to maximize the upsides if you're going to, min-max it. Right. But that comes down to the individual to be self-aware, right? If you do decide, like, hey, I want this, right? And you're going to justify it, you're going to do that shit anyway, at least do it fucking responsibly. But also understand, like, an easy solution is abstinence only. Hey, just don't stick your dick in there.
So guys, feel free to jump in there, but I'm just sitting here.
All right,
I'm
I'm
thinking
ready.
about like the new norm thing, like the whole new norm. I'm hearing more and more people talk about this. Like Sister Michelle was saying, she's like, I don't know if it's a lot of people doing this, but I was just bringing it to her. Like, man, I'm hearing this. I have, more and more couples coming up to me. Hey, like dudes, hey, my wife thinks you're attractive. She wants to get with you. Like, oh, you said that's your wife? We're starting to see this open relationship.
Put up a vibe then.
So I agree with
like choking on my coffee. You must be like sending out the doomy vibes or something at the bars there, DL.
I was born with that. That's just how I get, some of us are cursed with it. You know what I mean? I don't know what to do with it. I'm trying to use it for good. I'm trying to walk I'm trying to walk the straight and narrow, but hey, sometimes they fine as hell. But anyway, go ahead, Base.
Yeah, I think Viking made, good points, and I agree. And as far as, let me put it like this. There's always a chance of anything happening, right? You might get struck by lightning. You might hit somebody with your car. Now, if you're drunk driving, right, you make a habit of this, your chances of hitting a pedestrian, for example, are probably much better than if you're not. But there's plenty of people sober hit a pedestrian. There's plenty of people drunk who didn't hit a pedestrian. My point is, when you hit a pedestrian, I mean, hopefully you don't, but if you do, and you're sober, and you were on the road, you were paying attention, but some crazy shit happened, you'd probably be able to forgive yourself if you're intact. Imagine though, you got weak and you're like, nah, you know what? I'm going to drive home even though I know I drank too much. And then you hit a pedestrian, you're on your phone on top of it. And now, right, you kind of get back to reality, sober up, and it's like, holy shit, what did I do? And my point in saying that is, when you up the risk for bad things to happen, you're kind of asking for bad things to happen. In life, bad things will happen. But if you want to go out and ask for them to happen, you're going to have to lie in that bed, right? You're going to have to deal with those consequences.
Yeah, I feel you. And you're 100% right. I had a show on just a couple hours ago. It's talking about life as a paratrooper. And I was showing, how dangerous it is. That was a choice I made. And it's like you said, anything can happen. But we showed a guy who damn near got his arm ripped off because he didn't follow proper procedure. And there he is lying on the floor of a C-130 screaming in agony. And they're putting tourniquets on him because they're not sure if he got cut or what's going on with the guy. But that was the choice. That was the life. He didn't do it properly, and he paid. Right? It was very painful. So I hear you.
So
I hear
kind
you.
of my big point behind that is if you're intending to and attempt to with your action do the right things for the right reasons, that type of mentality, you don't have to deal with a lot of the, you know, regret or regretful thoughts, right? Look at what's that dude's name? Walter Weeks, right? So him over there, I'm just saying, man, sport fucking and like, STDs, I gotta ask these 5 now if they're pregnant. You wouldn't have ended up in that position except for what? What is the actual reason? Oh,
Yeah,
I need to get my numbers up.
You will find out.
What's
Yeah.
that?
You fuck around long enough, you will find out. Like that was like in the very beginning of Fresh and Fit, Myron had to, you know, like Chris and Myron like roasted the shit out of Walter because he's going on like 3, 4, 5 dates a day at the time. They had to like literally like convince him to stop going on so many fucking dates because it was preventing him from being able to do the show. Like it was really affecting like his work, and they're just like, "Yo, dude, you need to chill." He dialed it back, but once again, you fuck around long enough in Miami, you're gonna find out. And he found out the hard way. And Myron roasted his ass behind the scenes for it.
I bet he did roast his ass in multiple ways. So
It's like I told you so.
Yeah, no, I got you. So yeah, I agree with you, Viking. I mean, he didn't get shamed enough. That type. Look, even if they're shaming him on camera, like, "Oh, Fresh, you're a retard. Don't do this dumb shit. What's wrong with you?" Clearly, at the end of the day, their actions are, well, you know, you're a poor example for men in doing this shit, but you know, you're cool for a co-host. My point is, their actions are inciting him. They're sort of enabling him in some way to be that character that results in these actions. And as we both know, DL, balloon popping parties, right, for the masses. All of this stemmed out from that shit. And I'm not saying that, you know, oh, because he had sex with a woman, all this shit happened. I'm saying this is a lifestyle that he's portrayed, he's made, and he's made the bed, now he lay in it, right? This is the result.
Which he is. And like we will really see moving forward if he learned from his mistakes, and how many other men are out there that can learn from his mistakes. It's like, hey man, don't do this. Y'all saw what happened to Fresh. Don't do this. Be smart. Think about this kind of thing. So you know, we definitely disagree on a lot of that. I agree that, hey man, it's like what Viking was saying, man. He fucked around long enough, he found out. Like, bro, you definitely, come on, bro. Like you were drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit too hard, man. Of course there's gonna be some women out there hunting you like you're hunting them. They're trying to get something else.
But where do we disagree? Where do you not see the truth, Theo?
We disagree in the sense that I believe this is a learning opportunity for all, especially those people who've been following him. It's these same people that you're talking about. But there is a learning opportunity there.
Well,
a negative example can still be an example.
But it's like you know, your buddy, your little friend gets hit crossing the road right by a car, and it's like, oh, did you know that you're not supposed to just blindly cross the road? Everyone already knew that. Right, everyone knew that you probably shouldn't raw dog hookers. You probably shouldn't do that. Like, who needed that lesson, DL?
No one needed the lesson, but some people want to do it anyway. Again, going back to what Brother Viking just said, fuck around long enough, you're going to find out. And it's funny you use the analogy of getting hit by a car, because there was a friend of ours when we were little. I'm not going to say his name. He's still alive to this day. But he got hit by a car and broke a lot of bones in his body, to the point where he was laying in a box. Like, his parents had him. He could only be on the first floor. He couldn't go upstairs. He couldn't move. It was like before they could put him in the body cast, they had to just lay him in this box, and then the body cast came. But guess what? All of the kids in the hood had to go over to see him. Not just to wish him well. Yeah. This is what happened when you play in the street. This is what happened when you don't look both ways. That's what was going on. And his parents knew that's what we were doing. So it's the same thing. Fresh as the guy laying in a box. He got crunched in the street, broke all his bones. And if you listen, hey guys, look, you don't want to wind up in this box, do you? You don't want to break all your bones.
I think it's good that your analogy had kids in it, because that's kind of what he is a little kid. So I like that.
Jesus Christ, base Oracle, man.
That's like some diabolical parenting. Like, hey, you fuck around, you find out you're gonna end up in this box. Like,
that's how we did it in the 70s. I'm just trying to let y'all know, man. We didn't fuck around, bro. So like, you don't want to wind up like him.
Let me tell you, if you set up that debate or whatever with Myron and Fresh and me, right, and I'll be respectful, I'm super respectful. From there, I won't clown on them so much, right? If we hold a real, right, we can do a real back and forth, and I can talk to them. From there, things will be cooler. I'm just saying.
Bro, I'm letting you know, I'm working on that. You gave me your word. I take you at your word. Like I say,
Right.
people say a lot about
Have I lied to
Oracle.
you? Have I lied to you?
You have not. This man gave me his word, so I'm moving forward on that. When it happens, you know what I mean? If it happens, I think it'll be a great conversation. You know what I mean? Especially with like the little sniping shits or whatever. I think it's funny. I think that's more of a, I'm here and it's like, God, every time you say that shit, I'm like, oh man, this motherfucker. But it's a back and forth. Sister Sarah, what do you think about that lesson? Not my friend getting ran over and we had to go look at him laying in a box, but learning from others. What do you is there some wisdom there?
Well, my first question is, can I mod that debate? Secondly,
no.
You can host. I just want to mod it. No, I think we all learn different ways. Some of us have to touch the iron to realize it's hot. Some of us just watch other people touch it and we say, yeah, nope, not going to do that. That's all right. I'll pass. And then there's other people that just like burn the whole fucking house down, so I don't know. I think it varies on the person and how they learn from things that they see or hear or experience for themselves, and I don't know, it could go either way, but they are good analogies though, all of them. They actually made it all make very good sense.
That's what's up. Sister Michelle, what's your thoughts on that? And I would make you and your kids go over to the house and look at the little kid in the box. Like, don't wind up like this motherfucker. But go ahead.
I don't know if I had anything to add on that necessarily. I think I kind of zoned out a little bit.
I ain't mad at you.
Yeah, like you talk so much. It's like, okay, I need to take a moment and like not think.
Yeah, let it all settle in. And for the record, for you, so you guys know, I knew once we dropped the link, Sister Michelle loves to sit back and just chill and listen to what's going on most of the time. And she jumps in when she wants to jump in. So don't think that she's turned off by anything. This is just her normal. This is how she is on the panel. We will end the show. When we end the show, I'll bring her back and we'll end our interview, which was great. Viking, what's your take on this, man, or anything else?
Well, actually, I wanted to divert a little bit, and because I had a thought about talking about the new normal, right?
Yes.
And the thing is that I don't know if it's really that new, to be honest, based on what I know about history and people I've talked to, my elders and shit like that, and understanding, after we developed DNA tests, right? Because it was a common idea that humans and even certain animals are monogamous, right? And they don't fuck around and find out. But the thing is, after DNA tests, we found out that most of the birds we thought were monogamous, and then human beings, how many of these children turned out to not be, you are not the father, right?
Right.
So clearly, folks be fucking around and finding out, and they have been doing it for a long time. I suspect, once again, it could just be me. Maybe I'm not seeing something. Maybe I'm missing something. That just like what with the hose, right? And all this stuff. I think it's just been magnified, and now we can see it under the magnifying glass of the internet, right? So we couldn't really see it before, and people could hide it more, and they weren't doing it as much. But I think it's kind of funny that they seem to be doing it more now, even though we can see it more now. That's what I suspect, but I could be wrong.
So it's not necessarily the new norm. It's just it's getting all the news because it's selling, it's selling the paper, or it's getting the clicks. Kind of like this whole Civil War thing. Everybody's talking about the Civil War, and you walk through America, and America's like, nah, I don't like that over there, but I'm not trying to get a gun and shoot my neighbor. So but everyone's talking about this Civil War, like, get the fuck out of here. I like that. I like that take. And when it goes to anecdotal experience, like I'll say, like I went out and this happened to me. That really doesn't mean shit because that can't be happening to everybody. So I think you guys are onto something there. I see Base chomping at the bit.
No, I think that was a good take that Viking had. I don't have any pushback on that.
Holy shit, I'm buying 2 lottery tickets. Sarah,
Well,
have you ever
like I
seen
said,
Bates-
Based Oracle's a lot more red pill than he realizes, you know, because red pill at the end of the day is just the truth, right? Congratulations, you're in the manosphere now, man.
Oh shit! It's about to go down now. Here we
I've
go.
been told I'm every pill that you can think of.
Word.
Yeah, I've been told too. Like I said, people always want to try to put you into a corner and say that you got to be one type of way because you said this or that or the other thing.
Yeah, but you just did that. You just pushed me.
Sarcastically.
Okay, very good.
Sister Sarah, do you even have a thought on the new norms kind of thing, or is this something you don't even mess with? Are you hearing things anecdotally, like people are exploring, you know, these open relationships and the poly thing and the other?
I mean, I don't really know enough about it. I think. Oh, excuse me. I think maybe, yeah, one of those pieces was that, we didn't have the internet. You couldn't have access to all of this information. People didn't make the front page news because they were out at a bar with, their girlfriend and their wife. Like, I don't know. I'm wondering if things were more behind scenes and less in front of the world to see. So the accessibility to that information might have been more limited. Or it was just kept much more secret because it wasn't, wouldn't have been accepted, 20, 30, 40 years ago, as easily as it is now. Now, I think people are maybe either more accepting or more tolerant of things, or like they're like me, we just don't give a shit. Like, it has no effect on me, so I just don't care. I don't care to think about it in that aspect. I don't care to have an opinion on it because it's not affecting my household. So I don't know.
That's a good point. And while you were speaking, I had a thought popped into my head. What if your child came home after they're grown and is like, here's my husband or wife, and here are my boyfriends or girlfriends. They had like two others. So it's like you got let's say it's a girl, she had her husband. I'm here for Thanksgiving dinner, Mom. Here's my husband, and here are my two boyfriends. Because I'm thinking about that now. If my daughter came home like that, I would be like, we got to talk. As a parent, would that be something you kind of like? Again, you're talking about your grown child. Is that something you have a problem with?
Here's how like in that moment that it would happen, right? I'm not going to make a scene because that's rude and disrespectful in the moment. But I would later on in private, I would have a conversation with my child to try to understand what their thought process is on this and why. I would give my perspective to them, and I'd want to make sure that they're checking all of their boxes while they're making this decision. Because that would make me severely question, like, did I raise them the way I wanted them to become, or did I raise them in opposition, or like, what did I do in order to have them want this type of relationship, not that I'm saying it in a bad way. I'm saying it in a way of like, that's not who I was, and that's not what I believed in, and that's not what I passed down. So what the hell did I pass down? But I don't really find it to be like, again, I just don't care. At that point, they're an adult, and that, that's their effects in their lives, and they're the ones that are being held accountable to it. I'm accountable for creating a stir. That's why I asked the question why. But I don't know. I mean, that's still your child at the end of the day. You're going to love them regardless, unconditionally. So.
For most people. Sister Michelle, what's your take on that? How would you handle that?
I mean, I've actually put my parents in that position.
What?
Oh man. So like I said, I referenced this earlier. I did have like a long-term relationship before the relationship that I'm in now. So this person was like very involved with our family in general. Like it was not unusual for him to be around. It wasn't unusual for him and my husband to be doing projects together. It like my parents actually asked him to plant a tree for them at one point in time. Like he acted like a family friend, like an extension of the family. And So when holidays came around in one particular year, I decided that he was going to be a part of them. And so like I literally put my parents in that position. And it was like, well, do you want to be here for Christmas or do you want to make a stink out of it? What do you want to do? Like,
Wow.
I just really kind of stood with like, this is what it is. You don't have to like it, but I do what I want.
Wow. So if your kids, as a parent, if you found yourself in that situation, it wouldn't be that crazy to you, right? Because that's
No.
basically who you are. That's no different than just bringing their buddies home or something like that.
Kind of a follow-up question to that. I mean,
Yeah.
why would, not necessarily to you, Michelle, but back to the panel is, why would your parents know about your sex life, or be involved in that discussion? I mean, Michelle was kind of reluctant. He was already obviously very close in an aspect, so it wouldn't have been too.
Yeah, this is like years down the line.
Right.
Like they wouldn't have heard anything about him if it was just sex. Like
Right.
that would not have come up. So
Right.
my kids having an alternative sex life, I probably wouldn't know about it. And I and that's up to them. And I don't feel
Yeah.
like I owe my parents any sort of accounting for my sex life at all.
Mhm.
Most adults don't actually.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think
like,
your parents only know that you have sex because you inevitably have children, right? And you had to have at least done it however many times as children as you have had, like,
mhm.
but outside of that, I just don't, like, that's not a conversation I would have with my parents. Like, it's not, I mean, a relationship with someone, I would bring them home, but I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, we're banging on the, kitchen table every night or something. Like,
No, but
Yeah.
understanding this scenario in that type of relationship, it is a relationship. Like, this is my husband, this is my boyfriend, and that's my other boyfriend. Like, it's
Right.
kind of like that Newhart show. Like, how I'm Daryl, how I'm Larry, this is my brother Daryl, this is my other brother Daryl. So you have to talk about it at that point.
Well,
Because you're faced
I
with
would
it.
never bring somebody to my parents that I was just having sex with. That's like
Mhm.
wasn't the point. I
Right.
will bring home somebody that I'm having a full blown relationship with, and then
Mhm.
that brings in a whole an
The
entirely
questions.
different dynamic. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That brings
for
in a
me, the
question.
first issue wouldn't be like the relationship itself. It would be them springing it on you at a family event out of the blue. That would be my issue. It'd be like, like if I raise
That's
my
pretty
kid,
weird.
my kid would, like have some level of disclosure, at
Mhm.
least in terms of like, hey, yo, we got a couple extra people coming to the family get together. You might need to put out a couple extra plates, right?
Mhm.
That's just
Yeah.
basic manners and courtesy, right? So that's where I'm going. Like, if my kid is like springing this on me, like, they could be open with me about anything, right? So for them to like spring it on me in that situation, it's like, what are they trying to, like, what would they be getting at? Like me, I'm already going like, what the fuck, and it's not about the relationship, it's about the spring in it in that
Right.
context.
Mhm.
Huh.
Well,
Base-
yeah,
oh,
I
go
understand
ahead.
what you say. Oh, I apologize.
No, go ahead, Sarah. Go ahead, Sarah. You good.
I see what you're saying with that. I think the presumption, or at least the presumption I was taking into the storyline was, they're already telling you I'm bringing somebody home, but they're not explaining the full, it could just be a friend of the family or whatever that they're bringing home. And then you're sitting down at Thanksgiving dinner and like, oh, by the way, this is my like we're boyfriend and girlfriend, and then I'm already married, obviously, my husband, and yada, yada, yada. Like, you're explaining the situation at that moment. That's how I understood the storyline. I think I agree with you, though. I think if they, like, anybody springing anything on you, like, oh, by the way, we're all just showing up randomly, like, that would irritate the shit out of me.
Even when they get there, right? Because the assumption is going to be like, oh, my daughter's coming over with her husband and a friend, and then they get there, and then you obviously see that it's, wait a minute, they're holding hands with both men,
Mhm.
they're kissing both, because they're going to be they're comfortable, but again, that conversation you would imagine had to be had prior. Base, what's your take on this?
Yeah, you all answered wrong. The right answer is husband eats for free, the boyfriend's got to pay.
Perfect.
Okay, I ain't mad at you.
Or
I
at
ain't
least
mad at you.
bring the booze.
Right. Well, of course they all brought a bottle. Just, like they did, I'm coming over, I'm bringing something. So they did all that stuff. But my thing would be, wait, my daughter just kissed her husband. Now she just kissed her boyfriend. She's related. What? Now it's like, what's going on?
Well,
And
and this
again,
is
you're gonna
where
have to have that conversation.
but this is where it comes down to just plain tactfulness and respect. Like, I wouldn't spring that on somebody randomly, like by making out with the other person at the table. Like, I think that would be in itself just stupid and distasteful. You know,
Well,
and
not at the table. Let's say they're helping cut the turkey, or they're cleaning dish, they're washing the dishes,
do a
and
little
it's a
ass
peck. It's
grab
not
or
like
something.
a little ass grab or a pat or a little peck on the
But I
cheek. You know
feel
what I mean?
like in that moment they would be having that under wraps until the cat is out of the bag, just out of respect and not wanting to dismantle the conversation. Because if it comes out like as just a total, wait a minute, why did they just kiss, or why are they holding hands, or why are they touching each other's leg at the chair or something, you know, that to me would be rude. You know, that's
I'm hearing you on that, and
yeah.
I guess my take on it would be, I would have a sit down with my daughter and I would ask her, why didn't you tell me this beforehand? Kind of like what everyone else was saying. Like, why didn't you tell me this beforehand? As a father, you know, if my daughter sat me down and said, hey, Dad, this is what I'm doing. I have a husband, as you know, we love each other. We have a great family, but I also have this boyfriend. We talked about it. This is what we agreed to do. He has a girlfriend. Everything is safe. We know what we're doing. We're willing to take this additional risk, but I'm still going to talk to her and, you know, run the pros and cons. I'll probably sound a little bit like base. Like, is it really worth it? You know, have you guys truly thought about what you're risking here? I'm going to have that conversation. At the end of the day, it's like what Sister Sarah said. She's going to do it. She's going to do it. I'm not going to disown my daughter because she's in this non-traditional or new traditional, the new norm relationship. I think I'm there. Like, but you know, Sister Michelle's parents must have been floored. Like, what the hell?
I mean, I broke
DL,
them in.
I'm sorry, I gotta hop real quick. But
all right, bro. We're gonna.
DL,
We'll see you,
Michelle,
man.
Viking,
Bye,
Sarah.
Based.
We'll see you.
Peace. Thanks for coming through, bro.
Yeah.
Based has left the building, ladies and gentlemen. Based has left the building. So,
Oh, good. Now we can talk shit about him.
we'll do that
And my
anyway.
parents, they
Go ahead, sister.
I broke it to my mom first. I think my mom already had like her clues about it. And of course, but when I did bring my parents in on it, by this point we were already living that way for years, and I was already in with my boyfriend for a couple years, and she had already met him in the context of like, this is such and so, he's a friend, blah blah blah. So like it wasn't like, you know, ta-da, we're in an open relationship or anything like that. And honestly, I think even when I did kind of more publicly come out, everybody was kind of like, yeah, you know, Michelle's always been a little weird. You know,
Damn.
it kind of sounds like, yeah, I don't know. I think that's what people think, I guess.
That's crazy as hell. Like, well, at least it's not the whole basketball team. It's just a couple dudes. She has caps. It's good. Like, we can
Right.
work with this. That's crazy. I wanted to transition into final thoughts for Brother Viking and Sister Sarah. We'll let Sister Sarah go first, and then we'll roll into Brother Viking. Your final thoughts on whatever. Make sure you plug yourself, girl, when you're done, so people know where to find you, and all that good stuff.
All right. I'm Sarah, the Raging Tomato. I know it says I'm not sleepy tonight, but now I am sleepy on my headline. Yeah, no, final thoughts. I think that, you know, at the end of the day, whether we believe that, you know, all these different new things and new relationships were or were not here before, I think they probably were. You know, it's just probably better kept under the wraps because we don't have, or we didn't have all of the technology to spread the word and talk about things, you know. But again, I just don't really care because it's not me, it's not my household, it's not affecting me directly. You know, maybe in some weird indirect way, sure, society has a shift or whatever, but at the end of the day, I just don't care.
I am. It's one of those, you'll cross that bridge when you come to it type thing.
Exactly.
Appreciate you, sis. Thank you so much for your final thoughts there.
See you later.
We'll see you, love. We'll see you. We'll catch up with you. I love that bite. Brother Viking, man, what are your final thoughts?
Well, good talk. This is one of those things, you know, like being from the quote manosphere and the red pill. Like I've always been in more or less more open relationships. Like I was monogamous with my girl for like 10 years, right? I didn't really get a chance to go into it. But the thing is, my first relationship was my fighting instructor found out how good I was at leatherwork and invited me over to a, you know, a BDSM party, right? And I ended up like, you know, going with his girl into the, you know, living room and doing some fun, right? You know, I don't need to tell the whole story here now, but you know, so my first actual girlfriend, like I did so good that they made me go brag to the whole party, right? And then she demanded a relationship, and I ended up dating her for like 4 months, right? And had all sorts of fun, right? So like my first real relationship was an open relationship from the other side. I was like what you would typically call in the you know, scene a bull, right? You know, for girls it's a unicorn, for a guy it's a bull, right? When you get a guy to bang your wife type shit,
And
right? For
just
a
just
little
picture like you
education
was
there.
banging. Yeah, I'm the dude that was banging. I'm never
Yeah.
gonna get into their terms. I'm gonna be 100 with you. Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Well, that's like I said, for anybody that knows, you know, and I just figured I'd throw a little education in there for people. So, like I said, for me, it's something that a lot of guys in the red pill don't really talk about. You know, going back to what I said before in the chat about the body count is overblown, right? The body count does affect pair bonding, but how much that varies from person to person. And when guys are like ranting and raving about, oh, she's got a high body count, she can't be loyal. It's just like, once again, women will be loyal to a man that's loyal to himself. A man that's a, you know, when they say alpha, all they really mean is leader, right? Women are not truly loyal to followers, right? The man has to be able to lead himself, even if he's not leading her, right? So that once again, a woman can't respect you unless you lead, and that starts with leading yourself. That's my opinion anyway. And a lot of guys don't, they like put so much emphasis on all these little factors. They're focused on the wrong things, right? That's why I said, you know, about the families, right? It's entirely possible for you to, you know, have disclosure to some degree with your family and still have good people, right? It's all about personal accountability and responsibility. Like I was taught, if I'm going to be a degen, that I need to be a responsible degen, right? And understand the consequences. And therefore, that's why I've gotten where I've at. I've done a lot of fun things. You know, people know what I did down in Miami and shit like that. Fresh was even talking about it. Right? They didn't. I don't think Kyan still raves about that. He still comes into the Discord and he's just like, "Yo, Viking!" Like I never like it blew his mind that I would just rolled up in there and just spit game and understood the situation and had fun, right? And nobody got hurt. It was all consensual. The girl had a good time. I had a good time. Everybody laughed about it. Like, what's the problem, right? There's no babies involved. Protection was used. We're good, you know. So anyway, I digress, but that's the point. Like it comes down to you understanding the real world and living in it and accepting the consequences. Like Base said, I thought it was awesome. Like Base and I agreed on a lot for a change. It was nice. So it's like that's the key thing, is that you have to understand the game and just choose to play it that's best for you and the people you care about.
That's what's up, man. I gotta get a hand clap on that. Because there are a lot of dudes in the red pill world who would push back on that type of lifestyle. Especially Sister Michelle's type, the way that is rocking out. But
Yeah.
but no, man, I'm like shit, man. It's all game to me, man. Like it's just what y'all doing, cool. Like, you know, like whatever it is, what it is. Would I do that shit? Probably not. You know what I mean? But I ain't shit. Go ahead and do you. You know what I mean? So Brother Viking, where can people find you, man?
Here, I'll drop the link in chat. Thank you.
Yeah, because we don't want to forget. Make sure you guys. Yes, there it is right there. Please go over and follow Brother Viking. Appreciate you coming through, man. You know I always appreciate the support. Guys, just so you know, Brother Viking is going to be coming over. We're going to do an episode. We're going to be talking about some cool tech, geeky type shit, but it's going to be a great episode.
YouTube algorithm. But the real question is, I'll do some foreshadowing here. Which algorithm?
Right there.
There's more than one.
Holy shit, blew my mind. And all of a sudden it's like, you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. You're going to have separate algos that address certain things. All right, we're going to do that. We haven't locked the date in, guys. We're going to lock that in. Brother Viking, thank you very much, man. Guys, we're going to lock that in really soon. I appreciate you, brother.
Yep, thank you. Peace out.
Peace. And Sister Michelle, it's just the two of us. It's just me and you. I want to thank you so much for coming over and doing this. This was a great conversation. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's a great conversation. once we drop the link, you never know what's going to happen. But I really appreciate you opening my eyes to the way some people do things as opposed to the norm. You taught me a lot. I was kind of like, oh shit, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that. You gave me some food for thought. I appreciate you. You're always welcome here. You know what I mean? You know that. You're always welcome here. What are your final thoughts? I'm gonna put you on the screen by yourself.
Okay, great. First off, I had so much fun. Thank you so much for having me, and you were so welcoming, and your interviewing skills are awesome. It was really easy to open up. I am totally fine doing it again for any other questions. I don't have a channel or anything like that. Like, please don't follow me. I'm not a creator. I just like interacting in the space. And yeah, I just really appreciate you being so open and so kind, and just letting me say what I wanted to say.
That's what's up. And you are always welcome here. If you ever want to just have a conversation, let's say you're on a platform somewhere and you couldn't quite get your point across, you just hit me up like, yo, bro, I need to get on here and clear something up. I'm like, all right, well, fire it up, because, it's going to be a late show anyway. So shit, I'm an old man. I'm way past my bedtime. I ain't got no problem with that either. You know what I mean?
Great.
So, so I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And as far as getting women to open up, that's my specialty. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And Sister Michelle, hang out backstage real quick because we're gonna, do the outro and all that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Shout out to everybody who was in the chat, all our newbies, all our day ones. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. We're gonna keep it rolling and keep doing much, much, much more. Not all of the interviews are gonna be that nice. Sometimes we're gonna go hard. It is what it is. Shout out to Brother Viking. Shout out to Sister Sarah, the Raging Tomato. Shout out to Base Oracle. I'm DL Saint. Right next to me is Sister Michelle. This is I Really Want to Know podcast. We out. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.